Good morning. I'm Padmapriya, Assistant Professor in Department of CSE, RMD Engineering College. Today, we are going to see a topic on ICMP under the subject 21 CS 501 Computer Networks. ICMP version 4. The IPv4 has no error reporting or error correcting mechanism. So, the Internet Control Message Protocol version 4 has been designed to compensate for the above two deficiencies. It is a companion to the IP protocol. ICMP itself is a network layer protocol. However, its messages are not passed directly to the data link layer as would be expected. Instead, the messages are first encapsulated inside the IP datagrams before going to the lower layer. When an IP datagram encapsulates an ICMP message, the value of the protocol field in the IP datagram is set to 1 to indicate that the IP payload is an ICMP message. The ICMP messages are divided into two broad categories: error reporting messages and query messages. Error reporting messages are messages that report the problems that a router or a host may encounter during the processing of a datagram. Query messages are messages that help a host or a network manager to get specific information from a router or another host. For example, the nodes can discover their neighbors. Hosts can discover and learn about routers on their network. Routers can help a node to redirect the messages. This is going to be the frame format of error reporting messages and query messages. So, for error reporting message and query message, the first layer is going to be the type, which is of 8 bits, which indicates what type of data we are going to send. And code, which is of again 8 bits, which gives you the codes which are in numbers, which is used to indicate what type of messages it is. 16 bits followed by 16 bits of checksum, which is used for error detection method. And in error reporting message, the next layer is going to be the rest of the header, followed by the data section. The query messages, the next layer is going to be the identifier and the sequence number of what's sequence number of the query message, followed by the data section. Some of the type and code values of the error reporting messages and the query messages are being given here. For example, 03, destination unreachable. So the codes are 0 to 50. 04, source quench, only code 0. 05 is a redirection, codes 0 to 3. 11, time exceeded, codes 0 and 1. 12, parameter problem, that is codes 0 and 1. And for query messages, 08 and 00, which is of echo request and echo reply, only code 0. 13 and 14, timestamp request and reply, only code 0. The fields of ICMP messages. Type. This field identifies the type of message. Code. Code is the field which specifies the reason for the particular message type. For example, type 3, problem reaching the destinations. Type 11, problem related to time exceeded, so on. Checksum is the field which is used to detect the errors in the ICMP messages. Data section is the field which can be used for diagnostic purposes by matching the information in the ICMP message with the original data in the IP packet. The main responsibility of ICMP is to report some errors that may occur during the processing of the datagram. ICMP does not correct the errors. It just reports the error to the source. And error correction is left to the higher level protocols such as TCP or UDP. The rules for reporting the messages. No error messages will be generated for a datagram having a multicast address or special address. No error message will be generated in response to a datagram carrying an ICMP error message. No error message will be generated for a fragmented datagram that is not the first fragment. The contents of the data field for the error messages. So, when we are receiving an IP packet, so we will be receiving the IP header and the rest of the IP data. So now the in this IP data, if we are going to have some error messages, which is going to be in the IP header, any error messages, we are going to generate a ICMP packet. So in the ICMP packet, we are going to take the ICMP header, which is we have already seen, and the data portion, we are going to take the IP header and the 8 bytes of the received datagram for which we are going to generate the error message. Now, this whole thing, ICMP packet, is going to be sent as an IP datagram. So, for this ICMP packet is going to be put into an IP datagram data feed, and IP header is going to be formed, and this IP datagram is going to be sent to the sender. Now, let us see in detail about the error reporting messages. Destination unreachable. This message is related to the problem reaching the destinations. This message uses different codes such as 0 to 15 to define type of error message. Some of the possible values for code field is code 0, network unreachable. Code 1 means host unreachable. Code 2 means protocol unreachable. Code 3 means port unreachable. Second category is source quench, which is of type 4. This message informs the sender that the network has encountered congestion and the datagram has been dropped. The source needs to slow down sending more datagrams. In other words, ICMP adds a kind of congestion control mechanism to the IP protocol. The third category is redirection message, which is of type 5. This is used when the source uses a wrong router to send out its message. The router redirects the message to the appropriate router and informs the source to change its default router in the future. The IP address of the default router is sent in the message. TTL prevents a datagram from being aimlessly circulated in the internet. When the TTL becomes 0, the datagram is dropped by the visiting router and a time-exceeded message type 11 is sent to the source. The fourth category is parameter problem. This message can be sent when either there is a problem in the header of a datagram or some options are missing or cannot be interpreted. Query messages. The query messages are messages which help a network manager to get specific information from a router or host. There are two types of query messages, that is request and reply. Echo request and echo reply. These messages are used to determine whether a remote host is alive. A source host sends an echo request message to destination host. If the destination host is alive, it responds with an echo reply message. Type 8 is used for echo request, type 0 is used for echo reply. These messages can be used in two debugging tools, ping and traceroute. The second category of query messages, timestamp request and timestamp reply. These messages are used to find the round trip time between two devices or check whether the clocks in two devices are synchronized. The timestamp request sends a number which defines the time the message is sent. The timestamp reply resends another number which defines the time the message is sent. Thank you.